This one is for my fellow Swifties or anyone that's ever been screwed out of a concert ticket sale. We're going inside the Taylor Swift Ticketmaster debacle and figuring out what went wrong and who's to blame. Ticketmaster or, gasp, Taylor Swift herself. So let's start at the beginning. Are you ready for it? On November 1st, 2022, Taylor Swift announces her Eras Tour, presented by Capital One. This detail will be important to keep in mind for later. From November 1st to November 9th, fans were encouraged to register to become a verified fan. Ticketmaster claimed that this process would level the playing field without racing against bots. And as you can imagine, this is where things get squirrely. We were told there'd be high demand, but that, and I quote, previous Loverfest verified fan purchasers would receive preferred access to participate in the Taylor Swift Tix presale, and also that due to high demand, tickets would be available on a first-come, first-served basis. And I know we're just scratching the surface right now with this video, but in the last 30 seconds, I just mentioned what would later be found out to be known as 3 lies from Ticketmaster. But more on that later. On Monday, November 14th, verified fans were sent emails telling them whether or not they were selected for the presale. And wouldn't you know, I was selected. Oh my God, I was on top of the world. Maybe my previous Loverfest boosts actually worked and I was given preferred access. Holy guacamole. But I think we both know where this is going. Selected verified fans were sent unique access codes via text message. We were to use this code for the Taylor Swift Tix presale taking place on November 15th. Now, to be clear, and this is crucial, Ticketmaster had told fans there were a limited number of tickets because, well, duh, it was a presale. But also, remember the title sponsor for the tour, Capital One? Well, Capital One presale access was set to start later in the day, followed by a general on sale on November 18th. Here's where things get really messed up. I logged on 6 minutes prior to the start of presale access, and initially when I logged on, the only screen I had was that the sale hadn't yet started, which makes sense. But then, at 10 a.m. local venue time, I was placed into the beginning of a queue without being asked for my unique access code. My queue did not move. 2 hours into this presale, tickets were already being reposted for thousands of dollars on StubHub. Tell me how that's possible. This was supposed to be such a secure sale. 3 hours into my wait, Ticketmaster announces they're moving the Capital One presale access to the next day, November 16th, due to overwhelming demand, as they were trying to move through the initial demand of presale access. Unreal. But I was like, okay, shake it off and stay in the queue. Well, 5 hours after waiting in a queue, I was not even halfway through that line when, boom, I get bumped back to the beginning of the queue. Just like that. 5 hours completely and utterly wasted. I hung on for another 30 minutes after that, holding out hope, but it was completely pointless. That was the moment I knew all the tickets were gone. I never had even made it out of a queue and into a seating chart view. And it turns out I wasn't alone. Millions of fans were left out in the dust. By the time the 16th rolled around and Capital One presale was supposed to happen, most of Capital One cardholders couldn't get tickets either. By November 17th, Ticketmaster announces they're canceling the general on sale that was supposed to start on Friday the 18th due to overwhelming demand and insufficient amount of remaining tickets. And then it was radio silence from Taylor until Friday the 18th when that canceled general on sale was supposed to happen. And I'll get to her little statement later, but for now, let's talk about what went wrong. Because me and Ticketmaster, baby, now we've got bad blood. Ticketmaster released a couple of statements, which I believe they have actually since removed, saying how Taylor fans crashed their site due to overwhelming demand. This is a wild statement to make, considering Ticketmaster knew exactly how many presale codes they sent out. 1.5 million to be exact. Yet, 14 million people and bots rushed their servers clamoring for tickets. Can any reasonable human tell me why Ticketmaster wouldn't ask for our unique access code prior to putting us into a digital queue? Like, make it make sense. You want to solve problem number 1 real quick? Ask for that access code up front and then put only the verified users in the queue. It's pretty easy tech. See, here's how this works. You ask for the code first, and then you put us in the queue, rather than having everybody wait in this fake digital non-moving queue, then get, maybe if you're lucky, to a seating chart, then pick tickets, then get to a payment page before asking for the code. Okay, Tasia, breathe in, breathe through, breathe deep, and breathe out. So to be clear, Swifties did not break Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster broke Ticketmaster. But that's just one thing that went wrong. Explain to me how you can have a pre-sale and then sell all the tickets. So what you're saying is the pre-sale was the general on sale because you sold all the tickets. So what chance did any other fan have who didn't have pre-sale access? I will tell you, and I will do the math for you. A 0% chance. I can't make this up. Truly remarkable work. And there's another problem that comes with not capping resale prices, but I'll get to that in a minute. So who's to blame in all of this? Well, it is mostly Ticketmaster's fault, but I do have to say, and it pains me to say this, but Taylor does hold a little bit of blame in this as well, whether or not us Swifties want to speak that into existence. Because here's the thing, Ticketmaster is a monopoly, and unfortunately with that means they hold a lot of exclusivity deals with a lot of these big venues, so often artists have no choice but to work with them. But that's not all. Let us recap. Verified fans were sold a bill of goods, and I can count at least 3 lies from Ticketmaster. Lie number 1, the verified fan access would level the playing field and not allow bots to access tickets. We know this is false because 2 hours into the pre-sale, resale tickets were already available for multiple thousands of dollars over on StubHub. And I'll get to this resale pricing in a minute. But lie number 2 was that previous Loverfest verified fan purchasers would receive preferred access. This is worded vague enough, but I'm gonna call it like it is. It is definitely sketch, and you lie like a rug, Ticketmaster. And lie number 3, that pre-sale tickets would be available on a first come, first served basis. I am not the only fan to report that this was maybe the biggest lie of all. A colleague of mine signed on after me for the same show and was in and out with tickets in 20 minutes. Make it make sense. So it took Taylor 3 days to make a public statement on this whole Ticketmaster debacle. And what answers did we get from our queen? An Instagram story, a text story, by the way, that disappears after 24 hours, like the whole thing never happened. And in her story, Taylor writes how she is so protective of her fans and essentially puts all the blame on Ticketmaster. And in her defense, she opted out of dynamic pricing, which would have skyrocketed the price of the face value of those tickets based on high demand. But other than that, I don't feel very protected as a fan. Like, girl, I'm a crumpled up piece of paper lying here. Now, in her story, she also mentions that 2.4 million people got tickets, which, by the way, was a record sales day. But girl, no, they didn't. Have you seen all the resale tickets available for thousands of dollars? Sorry to tell you, but a metric ton of bots and scalpers got tickets. Not people, and not your fans. So here's a quick taste for you, without spending too much time on this. Everything in purple means there are resale tickets in that section. So look at all the tickets, look at all the availability, look at the pricing. And okay, you're thinking this is just one show. It is every single stadium and every single show on the Eras Tour where this is a reality. So let's talk about this ticket resale pricing for a minute and how Ticketmaster actually works. An easy thing Taylor could have done up front was to tell Ticketmaster to not allow the resale of tickets or to cap the prices of those resale tickets. Both of these things are more than possible, and in fact, a lot of artists do this. But as many of you know, Ticketmaster takes a fee from every ticket sale. It's generally around 15%, but that can go up. So Ticketmaster doesn't want to cap resale prices because they're collecting fees on that seat every time that seat is sold. So it's not in their best interest to cap that resale price. And I have to say, unfortunately, they make more money, and I think so does Taylor in that situation. Another disappointment with her statement was that she mentions how they're trying to figure out what to do moving forward, meaning what's done is done for this leg of the tour, or at least these dates announced for this leg of the tour, so we're all just out of luck, when really the answer was and is so simple. Ticketmaster can easily pull all those resale tickets, set a cap for resale prices. That way, all of the millions of fans who didn't even get a fair shot at getting tickets could actually have a chance and get a ticket for a somewhat affordable price, maybe just over face value. And I realize I just went on a whole diatribe of how neither Taylor, especially, nor Ticketmaster would want to cap the prices. But here's the thing. Taylor Swift is the music industry. If anyone could make it happen, it's her. Lest we forget that she single-handedly changed streaming and how artists were paid for their music on streaming platforms. She's re-recording her music right now and working with labels to help change the rules so that artists actually get to own their own work. So she could easily make this ticket debacle right. Unfortunately, the latter would only benefit our pocketbooks and not hers. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Ugh, it pains me so badly to say that. And maybe there's more going on behind the scenes that tie her hands a little bit and we just don't know all the legalities of it. Or maybe it's just me, a grown woman, realizing the crushing disappointment of being left out in the dust by her icon. But luckily, I've found that time can heal most anything. So now I'd love to hear from you. What was your experience like? Did you get tickets? Who do you think is to blame? Are you as crushed as I am? Do you wish you'd put up more of a fight? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time because it's time to go. Too old for this.